Good morning, and thank you for joining me on today's episode of the Roundtable Talk Show. I am your host, Sharifa Hardy, and I have done it again. I have brought to you a great group of people. We're going to educate you, we're going to entertain you, we're going to answer some of your questions, but we're also going to give you information that you may never have thought about. But before we get into today's show, I'm going to ask you to do what I always ask you to do. And that's right, I need you to go tweet someone, inbox someone, text someone, call someone, and let them know the Roundtable Talk Show is live because friends don't let friends miss out on the Roundtable Talk Show. That's right. And so I'm going to go ahead and introduce our next guest, our first guest. But before I do that, grab your pen, grab your paper, get ready to take some notes. So our first guest is Greg Jung. He is a real estate specialist and he specializes in homes for heroes. Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I am excellent. I'm excited to be able to talk to all of you this morning. Where are you calling us from?
I'm located in Phoenix, Arizona.
How's it going in Phoenix these days?
It is hot. So it is triple digits right now. So it's in the hundreds. So yeah, summer is in full swing right now. But yeah, Phoenix, I've been here for about 15 years. So it's definitely a place I call home at this point.
It's so wonderful. Usually I don't even ask about where people are located, but I just felt that. Isn't this good to have a conversation about the weather? We used to call that small talk. He's like, how's the weather? But now after everything going on in the world, it's like you just want to have that casual conversation sometimes. But one of the things that interests me about you, Greg, was the whole idea of homes for heroes. What exactly is Homes for Heroes?
Yeah, so it's a great program. It actually started in New York, and I'm from New York originally, but it started right after the 9/11 attacks. And basically what it is, it's a program that helps, there's 5 categories. So it's basically people that give back to the community, and it's the only way that I know how to give back, and that's through real estate. And the 5 categories that I help out are firefighters, law enforcement, military, healthcare workers, and teachers. And the way I do that is, like I said, it is through real estate. If one of those heroes is, buying or selling a home, I help them through that process like I normally would. That process is exactly the same. But on the back end, I basically give up some of my commission, about a third of my commission, and that goes to Homes for Heroes. Homes for Heroes then sends a check directly to that hero after they close on that home. So it's a really great program, like I said, just to give back to people in our community. And the big why that I did it was because these people are doing jobs that I either can't do or I chose not to do. So I really respect them, especially during this crazy time with COVID and everything else going on in our country. Pretty much all those 5 categories are giving back to our communities. They're helping our communities stay strong through this crazy time. So it's just a great program, and it's a great way to give back, like I said, through real estate. And that's the way that I can give back. And it's been really great to give back to these local community heroes.
I love that because so often, especially in right now, what's going on in the world, the one thing that I keep hearing is, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do anything. And I love the way you said repeatedly, this is the way I give back. Like you took what you do and said, you know what, there must be something within that I can be of service. And I definitely applaud that. Is there an aspect of what you do that focuses on encouraging people or encouraging those heroes to be homeowners?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, just like any other person that is a renter or is maybe not a homeowner at this point, there is that talk of the pros and cons versus owning a home versus renting a home, and there are pros and cons on both sides. I totally understand that. But when it comes to local heroes, chances are they're going to be in a community for a long time. They're probably not moving from Phoenix to California or Florida at this point, because a lot of them are really rooted in their careers. So having that conversation is a part of my job, and it's a great part of my job. I love talking to the heroes directly to find out exactly, what's going in the mind on a firefighter when they're going on a call, or something like that, something that I would really never experience because I'm not a firefighter or I'm not a police officer. So it's just really great to give back that way and to really, like I said, dive into their heads and kind of find out what's going on, in the community, in the streets, and with the people that they're serving, our local communities.
What have you seen as far as the real estate trends over the last 3 months? There are some people who are like, oh, this is the worst possible time to buy. Do not buy anything. And then there are other people who are like, you can get homes and real estate for pennies on the dollar. People are just walking away from these homes. What are your thoughts, Greg?
So I can only speak to the Phoenix market, but the past 3 months, the Phoenix market has still been on fire. Even before March, before COVID-19, it was a very strong seller's market. Once COVID-19 hit, it became less of a seller's market, but it's still a strong seller's market. If you put a house up for sale, there's usually 3, 4, 5 offers. And again, it kind of depends on the price range and everything. But at this point, sellers are still selling. There's still a lot of demand and not a lot of supply, so that'll create a seller's market. I think in the future there will be some opportunities to buy some real estate. I don't know if it's necessarily in the residential space. It might be in more commercial, like student housing. Obviously, colleges are a little bit uncertain on what's going to happen, if they're going to return in the fall or next year, or if a lot of that's going to switch to online learning. So that's where the uncertainty comes in. But I think for residential, at least in Phoenix, it's still going very, very strong.
That's wonderful. One of the reasons why I do the round table talk show, it's one of those mornings, I guess. But one of the reasons why I do the round table talk show is to make new friends, to meet new people. So Greg, I want to introduce you and everyone else to one of my good friends, Allison Allman, and she's someone you may want to get to know. She works with real estate individuals, but she also works with consumers to help them get organized. Good morning, Allison. How are you?
Good morning, Miss Sharifa. I am doing great, and I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you back. For people who have tuned in to Ask Sharifa Videocast or the Roundtable Talk Show, you've definitely seen Allison Almy here before. She is one of our regulars, and she always brings us a lot of information. So Allison, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
So I live in Southern California. I live in Fullerton, Orange County. I've lived here my whole life. I've moved actually 30 times and I've stayed within the county. So I have lots of experience about packing up my own stuff and what's really needed in a household. I definitely lean on my experience when I am introduced to just different types of families and people in need. A lot of people I have discovered like I focus my attention on helping people that are overwhelmed in their situation and come in and kind of be the action hero that comes in and saves the day. Quite a few people contact me when they're overwhelmed with clutter. I come in and I kind of wham bam it and make it all free flowing space that they can be relaxed and calm in, especially when COVID and the safer at home order went into effect a couple months for us. Everyone was stuck at home and they were just seeing all their clutter and seeing all these eyesores, and some people, hopped on organizing drawers and whatnot, and other people just hid away in a room and stayed away from it. So this was definitely a learning period for all of us, and I've been back at work since May 5th, organizing garages, packing people for when they're moving. I've been unpacking people. People have been putting their home on the market. I've been getting their homes ready. So it's just been a whirlwind of everything happening right now.
Did you bring me some lemon pepper wings? That's what I want to know. Did you bring me some lemon pepper wings?
No, but man, that sounds like a good breakfast right now.
So I want to ask you this. or actually share this. One of the things that I really love about you, and there are a million different ones, but you are one of those people that I was able to watch you go through this COVID-19 quarantine, from watching you and knowing your home organize your business to watching you pivot to be able to sustain your business during this time frame to going, like you said, back to business as normal or usual on May 5th. But what was that time like for you? And I know we talked about a little bit before how you made the decision to go virtual. Can you talk a little bit about that, Allison?
Sure. Back in April, pretty much my whole pipeline of work ended. Normally I work about 26 days out of the month, and I only worked 5 days outside of my home in April. So I had to do something those other 22 days of the month. And so I used that time to hop on the Zoom and work on a digital background and just work on my brand. I basically had a new schedule where I started at 8 o'clock in the morning, sitting in front of the computer, going to networking meetings, because all my networking meetings were switching to online. I went to a bunch of networking meetings, and then the afternoon I went to different brand influencer webinars where we talked about expanding our brand and marketing and working on our social media profiles, because everyone was saying that there was a 40% increase on Facebook and Instagram. And so if you weren't using this time to be marketing, that you were just going to get kind of forgotten about. So I definitely, and then it's definitely was using that time period to work on my profiles, work on my pictures, work on my branding. And then at 6 o'clock, I would close down the computer and then it would be social. So I really noticed that's one of the reasons why I was able to go back to work by May 5th, because all the marketing and networking that I had done in April certainly paid off, and I didn't pay for any of it. All of it was free. All of the branding influencers wanted to help us during this time period, so all of their techniques and tips and everything were free. Sure, I get a lot of email for their newsletter and whatnot, but it totally was completely worth it. I can't stop talking about it because it just, so many new connections were made that I can't talk about yet. Hopefully in August, I can release some more information of some things going on in the background from the April downtime that I had.
Yes, but that's just an example of people, we always have this discussion about overnight success, overnight success, overnight success. But people tend to just see the fruit of what you've been working on for years. So like you said, you started this in April, but a lot of people will begin to see some of the things that you started back in April. They'll see them in August. So that's wonderful. So Allison, what you do is you help people become organized and put all their items in order and maybe get rid of some of that junk. But our next guest, he's not focused on junk. He's focused on, let's say, items in a museum. Let's introduce our museum curator, Mr. Denny Daniel. Good morning, Denny. How are you?
Good.
You look good. You look relaxed. You look comfortable. What do you have back there?
I've got a lot of interesting things that are always surrounding me. So I brought for you, if we were doing this 100 years ago, the camera we would use would probably be a 3D Brownie from around 1905. That would take a 3D picture. Or our audio might be one of these. An original wax cylinder player from Thomas Edison.
Wow. And you just have that in is this your house, your office?
It's both. I kind of opened it up to the public when everyone begged me to have actual presentations here. And here, I'll play you a moment. Let's see if I can get it to play.
I love it. That is so beautiful. How do you find all this stuff? Do people like Allison bring it to you?
Yes, I get a lot of donations now. There's like Allison, you'll be impressed. There's about 18,000 people on the email list, and they're really, really sweethearts and great fans, and they'll come to shows, and they'll often bring donations, things from their house. So as far as organizing is concerned, people clean up their house, and I end up making them happy because they have a place to put it where it can educate kids and adults.
Wow. How did you get into this?
So I was working in lots of places like Statue of Liberty and doing New York Times covers, web design, photography, film. And I found that, at the end of the day, I wasn't making my mark on the world, changing the world in some sort of way, making the world a better place. I felt like I was just kind of dressing people in the morning, doing things, that weren't changing things. So I wanted to do what I called a mitzvah job. And I kept thinking, what can I do? What do I like? And I said, I love collecting things. I love telling stories. And I would do these events in my apartment where my friends would throw their birthday parties in my apartment because I lived right on Broadway in the middle of the city. And then people would come to my apartment and see the interesting things, and we'd talk about it, and it was fun. And I thought, maybe I can make that into something, take it to a school. So I went to my elementary school in Queens and did a show and told newspapers, you got to see this. Kids are going to see the history by actually touching the actual items and learning from the actual items. And they said, we're not showing up. You're not getting pictures. Forget about it. And they ended up giving me front page articles in full color with pictures and everything.
Oh, wow.
Over 10 years ago.
That is so beautiful. Like, I wish I was there. Like, I just want to go, like, literally right now, I want to walk around that couch and I want to just be nosy. I'm so nosy, which is why I do the Roundtable Talk Show. I love to just, inquire minds, and I see pictures and I see all kind of things that I would just like, what is this? What is this? This is so interesting. But see, the thing about me is I wouldn't be able to do that because all of those things would be on eBay if left to me.
That's okay, because then I'll get them.
That's true.
I'll
That's
find them
true.
on eBay and get them. So that's perfect. Do that.
That's true. That's
I'm looking
true.
behind you to see what I can add.
Don't oh, your museum. So your museum is in New York. So that's good. That's
And
good.
it travels. So we can go to Arizona and we can go all over the country. It actually travels and goes to school.
Mm-hmm. Go meet Allison in Fullerton. I'm sure you guys can work out some kind of, partnership, joint venture, something like that.
Definitely.
I think that's wonderful. So again, we're getting into the show. It's good. It's interesting. We're having a great conversation. One of the things that I have been talking about for the last couple of months on the Roundtable Talk Show is so many people say that after this quarantine, we're going to have so many more divorces and we're going to have so many more babies. I, for one, am hoping and praying for the babies, but I don't know. We're going to talk to our next guest and kind of get her thoughts on that. Nicole Middendorf. She is the CEO of Prosperwell. Good morning, Nicole. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great.
I'm glad to have you. Now I'm like Denny. I'm looking in the background to see if I can get something for eBay so that Denny can get it. Yes, yes. I think I can get something from that award that you won, Gracie.
My Gracie Award. That was for a TV segment that I did. So I got to go out to New York to receive the award, which was pretty spectacular because I'm a financial advisor. I'm not in media. And so to win a media award was I was very honored.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Now, you said you're a financial advisor. We're going to talk about that. But there was also an aspect where you talk to or work with people going through a divorce.
Yes. In 1999, I became a certified divorce financial analyst. I even had a car that I drove that the license plate said was his for a while. And I'm not an advocate of divorce, and through my own divorce process that I went through a handful of years ago. But there's unfortunately a rise starting to happen of divorces with everything that's happened. And so I help a handful of people a year and specifically just handle the money. And it came from particularly, a handful of people, but one woman came into my office when I was at Morgan Stanley, and this was back in '99. And she had taken the stock and had taken a 401k plan, and then she took the cabin. And so she made all these mistakes. And so one, I was frustrated as a financial advisor, but two, frustrated as a woman that this attorney just allowed her to go through the divorce process and didn't look at these horrible tax ramifications and just everything that this woman went through. And so I get passionate about things when I see things that are just not very right. And so that's how I ended up on that path, and help a handful of people each year with the divorce process, just from the money side of things.
What are some key guidelines that I won't say should, but you can take into account when contemplating a divorce financially?
Yeah, I mean, the more you can agree and the more you can communicate, the better off you are. I got a phone call yesterday from a gentleman, and I had helped his good friend probably 10 years ago through a divorce. And I sat down with his wife and him. And so that's where, like, the more you can do on your own, the more you can do through mediation, the more you can communicate with your significant other, the less expensive the process is going to be. And generally, the better it's going to be for you. And if you have children, because a lot of times people just rush and get divorced, but most of the work that attorneys are doing is post decree. And so that's where it's like, you could rush and get this great divorce decree, but then if you spend the next 10 years in court, it's not really worth it. And so the more you can communicate, the better off you are.
I was joking a little bit as far as the divorces and the babies that are a result of the COVID-19. But one of the things that I have definitely seen as a trending topic is finances, where there are people who said, you know what, I'm just going completely into savings mode, where there are other people who have received either grants or maybe it's their unemployment. They're like, okay, I have money. I haven't had money in some time. Let me go and start spending or buying. Or there are other people who say, you know what, I really want to invest, but I don't know what to do. For any or all of those people, what have you seen over the last 2 months, and what are your thoughts?
Well, we've been extremely busy, to the fact that I've got a stack of resumes on my desk that we need to hire another team member. And there's 7 of us here so far. And so unfortunately, we have clients that are losing their jobs. So we're busy from that standpoint. But the majority of our busy is coming from new clients. And I'm seeing a trend of a lot of single men that have a lot of money sitting in their checking account, that they're like, hey, I should probably do something with this. And I've never had a financial plan, and I should get one. And so that's just been a very interesting trend, as well as I've seen the trend of the divorce rate potentially going up, as well as a lot of people really kind of reflecting and thinking. We've had clients that were planning on retiring in a couple of years, and they're like, you know what? I'm done now. And so that's where it's been a lot of adjusting current financial plans for people, as well as those that haven't done any planning, because this time I really feel like has been given us the opportunity to just stop and reflect and say, what's really important. And I have trademarked the Live It list, which is basically your bucket list. And I'm all about, part of our financial planning is, yes, we'll help get you to retirement, we'll help get your kids to college, but really what's important to you and what's on your Live It list, and where do you want to spend your time and where do you want to spend your money? Because 1 in 3 Americans is happy. My best friend who's out in LA, she will tell me 1 in 40 is happy in LA. But the concept behind it is, studies show if you spend money on experiences, you're going to be happier than if you spend money on things. And so this time, I really feel like, has given people this opportunity to say, okay, what's really important? Like, where am I working? What am I doing? How am I using my money? And people have been spending less money overall because they've been stuck at home and haven't been traveling and doing the entertainment and the things that they're used to. So it's been a good reflection. And it really also proved how many people don't listen to me. because I did a radio show for 5 years. My 5th book came out in September. And I'm just this huge advocate of have liquid money for emergencies. And this economic stimulus check that everyone got, and it just, the panic that ensued for people, it just proves, the importance of financial planning and getting your finances in order.
Have you seen, because I was discussing this with another one of my guests that were on a panel, their focus though was estate planning, but it was more of a mindset of people who were like, you know what? I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared as far as my savings. I didn't have a living will. I don't have, a power of attorney. So did you just, I mean, I know you mentioned it earlier, but there was like a complete increase of people looking at their lives overall and what they have and what they need.
Yep. And one of the things we've done is I've been trying to be a huge advocate of positive information and a huge influence for that. And so we've done tons of videos and we're in social media and LinkedIn, but we started sending out emails to those clients as well as prospective clients in our database. And so this week we just sent out an email with my daughter dressed up in a T-Rex costume, handing out baskets just to random people, like one was a nurse, and just a basket of wine and goodies and all sorts of fun things. But what we've prepared in the email that's going out next week, we came up with a document called My Legacy. And it's really that document to help pull everything together, because this has Prince, I feel like, was a huge awareness for people of, oh my gosh, I need an estate plan. I need to get my ducks in order. But now I feel like with the whole COVID, that people have also that kind of gotten that little kick that they've needed to say, oh my gosh, like I'm not prepared. If something were to happen to me, who knows where my safe deposit box is? Who knows the number? Who knows, do I have a will? Where does my stuff go to? And so we came up with a document to help people think through some of these things, because that's usually the hardest part. No one wants to think about when they're dying and when they're no longer around, but the importance of preparing for those moments and those things that we don't necessarily expect in life called life.
Yes. So we have those unexpected things. We discussed divorce and we discussed babies, but we all know first comes love, then comes marriage, and then comes that little baby and that baby carriage. We're going to plan for the best. So we're going to introduce our next guest, JoAnn Moore, who helps people create dream weddings. Good morning, JoAnn. How are you?
Good morning, Sharifa. What an honor. Yes, I want to just say quickly, Greg, thank you for your service. I am married to a fire chief, and my youngest son is a wildland firefighter that's usually deployed about now, but actually he's still around in town. And then my oldest son is in the Coast Guard. He is a chief warrant officer. So when I hear people helping the military and firefighters, I so get it. And I, of one, appreciate that. So thank you. And Nicole, I hope none of my clients ever come see you with regards to divorcing, because that's not what I'm about. I always find the fun time of what I do, my book here. But yes, I have the great honor of helping couples work through some fabulous, amazing weddings in some of the best locations. And right now, I'm finding that I'm using my superpower of staying calm during a crisis, trying to get my clients through these challenging and difficult times. So it has been like no other summer. And I was part of the 2008 recession and still had a lot of weddings. I think I had 17 weddings still move forward during that recession. And then we come on this COVID, and this is another little bug that I just am like at awe what it has done to an industry of talented people, photographers, caterers, floral designers, venues that are just exquisite, that are missing out. And all of my friends have been furloughed. And when you see a beautiful mountaintop and you can't get to it because everything's closed for a wedding, it has been challenging, and so many broken hearts with the excitement and build of a wedding, and then the letdown of now you've got to wait a little longer, or you have to cut and make it very, very small, which several of my clients are doing. It's challenging, but I love what I do. I'm very blessed to work in an industry. I used to work in the medical field, cardiopulmonary, and then I switched over and working. So I went from the sick heart to the love sick heart, and love what I do. I truly feel blessed. And some of the clients that I've worked with actually are in the book, but don't tell them. But I've gotten to work and meet some of the most amazing couples with love stories like no other, as well as working with some celebrities and politicians, athletes, and just everyday folks that just have this romantic, happily ever after to plan on. And so I have a joyful career. That's what I do. I also get to speak at conferences. Once you do this enough, they ask you to speak. So I have been speaking on a lot of webinars, Allison. So that's been fun and challenging as well, because I'm working and shifting things. And then also I do some writing as well. So yeah, busy girl.
You seem busy, but I'm just going to ask one of my nosy questions. And I always tell people up front they're nosy just because that's who I am. But do you do home decor? Did you decorate your home?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
This is my office.
Okay. Oh,
Why?
did you decorate your office?
This is my office, and yeah, my home. Yeah, that's part of what I do as a career, is I design weddings and stuff. So why
But it's beautiful. No, I mean, it's just beautiful.
Oh,
And then, no, but it is. But like, you work with people on weddings, but just being in this office is like romantic. It's like the reds and the pillows and everything just pops. It's like I would just walk in there and I'd be like, you know what? I want to get married. I don't know why, but there's something about this room.
Yeah,
No,
I
it's
want
not
it
me.
calm and organized. Thank you for that. I do want it organized and calm, and that's what we in the industry have to present to couples who think about a couple getting married and what they're bringing in. Their expectations are up here. They're spending this. They're bringing in the dysfunctions of two families that may or may not have met, and that's the making of the Bermuda Triangle, I'm sure of it. And so, and we're in the middle trying to keep everything calm and moving forward, and yet memorable in all kinds of ways for the right reasons, not because, you know, a chair got thrown out the window, but because it was romantic and beautiful. So the memories that I hope to build in the industry are ones that are of sweetness and kindness and family, and not of the drama and trauma, the mama drama and the hangover Hank kind of stories. I don't like those, so we deal with it.
May we see your book again? Can you tell us a little bit about Laughter All the Way? What is it? Laughter All the Way to the Altar.
Yeah, it's Laughing All the Way to the Altar.
Laughing.
It is based on, attorney told me to say that, based on real life, true happenings that have happened, that I've experienced at many of my events, and can't make this stuff up, but yet you can't believe it either, because, and I've been through it all. I've been doing events for over 30 years, and literally hundreds and hundreds of weddings and problems and issues, and never had a runaway bride. That's the number one question I get. Have you ever had a runaway bride? No, but I've had several I wished would have. Like, no, what are you thinking? Do you not see what the world sees right now? But it's yeah. So between the book, and I'm started on my next one, and trying to get through COVID and keeping my clients calm and not letting them feel that the world is crashing down on top of them because of everything that we've seen, and knowing that true love, you know, is stronger than anything. And if you can get through a COVID and riots and all of this other negative stuff going on right now, what's coming up at the end is your pot of gold. It is that happily ever after. Call me a romantic, it's okay. But I truly believe that getting through the hardness of the beginning makes for just an exquisite life. It's like, well, if we can get through that, this is nothing. So
Well, I'm a hopeless romantic as well. I love, you know, and we're going to have to get you to give us one of those stories. One of the funny stories when I got married to my kid's father is right before the wedding. I was so nervous, and I kept telling everybody, no, everything is going to go wrong. It's going to go wrong. I want it to be perfect, you know. And so we got married. We had the wedding reception, and everything was perfect. We went on our honeymoon. Everything was perfect. We came back, and I was, you know, the family kind of welcomed us back. So we were sitting there talking, and I was like, I'm just so glad my wedding was just perfect. And everybody looks at each other, and they're like, should we tell her? And I'm like, tell me what? And they're like, this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and somebody got into a fight at the wedding. But the whole time, people were like, keep it away from Sharifa, like, don't let her see. Like, because but I really appreciated that they were so concerned about my special day, it just being perfect. But at the end, they were like, let's tell tell you everything that happened. So I know I want to get a story from you, JoAnn, but I want to go back over to Nicole real quick. I thought I saw you raise a book or mention a book. You have a book. I think.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is my 5th one that came out, titled Who Pays? Navigating Love and Money.
Mhm.
And so it came from, I was divorced legally in 2012, and my best friend from college is like, there's no books on dating and money. I'm like, well, I'm not an expert because I got married right out of college. And so I just started on this path. But then really what I realized is once I started writing it, clients found out, and a number of clients said, Nicole, you saved our marriage. And so it really became more into this relationship book of like, what's your own relationship with money, let alone your relationship with your significant other. So chapter 9 is all just questions. And so it's questions, one, to ask yourself, let alone questions to ask your significant other or when you're dating. Not on the first date though. I don't recommend that.
Okay, so I think that's one of those book clubs. Like you get together a whole bunch of people with some wine, and then you sit there and ask those questions. I think that would be fun. I think I'm gonna have to get that book, Nicole. Is there anything about who pays for a first date though?
Yes, the man. Sorry,
Go,
Greg
Nicole.
and Denny.
You see what
Are
I'm
you gonna
saying?
pay with that?
Nicole?
No, what is that, Denny?
So I brought something out for Nicole. Nicole,
Yes,
did you
I
ever
picked
have
on
to say to
Nicole.
one of the guys, you're as phony as a $3 bill? Well, they made a $3 bill. That is an original 1800s $3 bill. From where else would you get a $3 bill but Hoboken?
Wow.
So
That's
that is
amazing.
so they did have. So the next time someone says to you, Nicole, that my significant other is as phony as a $3 bill, tell them, well, they did make $3 bills. So there you go.
Can you send me that? I need that, Denny. Can you send that to me? I need some more things for eBay.
Absolutely.
Thank
I will
you.
send you my $3 bill.
Thank you. I'm gonna be
It'll
waiting.
probably cost me $4 to send you my $3 bill.
I'm gonna send you $7. Okay, how about that? I'm gonna cover it all. $3 for the bill, $4 for shipping, and then I'm gonna sell it on eBay for at least 2.5 million.
Sharifa, I have to take Nicole's advice, and the guy has to pay for the first one.
No, I believe that though. I mean, I believe that. It's just like so many people are in society now are more like, okay, well, we could go Dutch or we could do this. And one guy, I remember when I was out dating, who is still one of my really close friends to this day. We went on a date and he didn't pay. Well, he did pay, but he sat down. He said, Sharifa, I want you to know that this is not a date. He was like, it's friends getting together over a meal. And I said, that's fine, as long as you get the bill. And so we went out, we still kind of hang out. And this was like 14 years ago. We still see each other, but I just loved having that conversation up front, day one, so there weren't any questions. But I never pay for a date. That's just, you pay for dates, Allison? Because we've been trying to find you a man for some time. We not find, but we've been doing our you know what I'm talking about, Allison.
Well, I did the online dating app, and I had very strict boundaries, so to speak, and found out that no one wanted boundaries or to respect them. And so the first date was always a controversy because the men I was speaking to were getting upset that they were being taken advantage of, that they were expected to pay for some, $300 dinner and, a night on the town. And what did they get in return? Well, they didn't get any booty, so they weren't interested. And I was like, you get the presence of my company, so that should be worth the value of whatever dinner we're having. But for the most part, I was more interested in genuine conversation than a $300 dinner that was going to leave my body in a couple hours. So it just, I kind of went off the dating scene to work on my profile, on my career. It's not really, it hasn't been a high priority in the past year, at least. I just haven't thought much about it and deleted all my profiles, and just really haven't looked back. It just really hasn't been important to me, so I haven't thought about it. I already have my second wedding planned out on how I want to execute it way differently than the first wedding. First of all, by just having a better partner. I was not equal, I was not in an equal marriage before. I was always treated like a child through the whole process. So, and I never was equal or on the same playing field. So, just as a lot has changed since 2011 when my divorce was finalized.
Yeah.
Greg, how you doing back there?
I'm doing good. I was actually going to say I met my wife online probably 8 or 9 years ago. So yeah, I mean, dating is tough, but you know, there is that pot of gold at the end, and yeah, so I'm just kind of hanging out, just enjoying all your guys' conversation and taking it all in. So
So you met your wife online 8 or 9 years ago. What was the process like? Was she the first one? You know, had you talked to a few people? She not gonna hear this, Greg. Focus on me. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
she's not on Facebook. It's fine.
No, what I'm
Yeah,
saying,
no.
like you may have inboxed a couple of other women, you know what I'm saying? But so many people are scared, are afraid to go online because you know they don't know what the process is like. I'm just trying to find out about the process.
Oh no, of course. I can totally talk about it. We've talked about it pretty openly. Yeah, she wasn't the first person I went out with, and I was probably not the first person that she went out with as well. But yeah, the process, you know, like Allison was saying, it's work. You know, it's not like it's like a second job sometimes where you're trying to, you know, talk to people, organize. So yeah, it's definitely a process. It took me probably 2 or 3 years. I don't know if I was very picky. I probably was, but I'm really thankful that I was because you know, I ended up with a partner that that I wanted, you know, that I wanted to be with, and I wanted a sports girl. I'm into sports, so you know, it took me some time to find my match, but yeah, the process can be a little bit grueling, but you know, knock on wood, so far so good.
I love it. Yeah, you'll be great. You know what I mean? Because she loves you, you love her. It's wonderful. I could tell. And I could tell when you came on and you started talking about real estate that you weren't single. In certain professions, I'm like, they gotta have a wife. Some woman was like, he's a keeper. But I have a friend who I always talk about on the show. First of all, about 6 weeks ago, she decided she wanted to get a divorce. And I kept telling her, this is not a good time for a divorce. Like, we are in a global pandemic. Like, what if we have to go live in the woods or something? Like, who's going to cut the firewood? Who's going to put the water in the well? Like, just wait a minute. So that kind of worked for a little bit. But like about a week ago, she's like, no, I'm out. So she left her husband. She's been at my house talking to me, driving me crazy with all these dating things that she wants to do. But I told her, I said, just go on the dating sites and have fun. Don't look for Mr. Right. Don't look for your husband. Just decide that you want to get out the house and you want to meet new people. You know, I think if people go into it with a different mindset or a different expectation, then they may have different results. I don't know. I'm not the expert. I just talk. That's what I do. What are your thoughts on that, JoAnn?
Well, I've had couples meet on Tinder and come to find out that in front of the parents and how embarrassed they were to blurt it out and a few cocktails later. But several couples have met on Tinder and different dating websites, but a lot of them, you know, church groups, outings with their buddies, introduced through their buddies. My husband, I was married previously, and I used to set him up with dates with my friends that were all disasters. And then many years later when I divorced, and my husband was my then friend was still single, and I had some tragedy with my dad passed away unexpectedly, and he was just a dear friend, and we started dating. I was already divorced and everything. We started dating and we were like friends. So it was kind of weird at first, but it you know, 26 years later, it's still going strong. I couldn't be happier. So, you know, however, just, you know, spend the time to know the person. I mean, I knew him because I set him up on dates, and he would tell me all the horror stories. It's like, why would you think her? But yeah.
Oh, you've been married
Well,
for 26 years and this is your second marriage? Look at all the 35. How you gonna be married for 26 years for your second husband? With your second husband?
I know, and I have my oldest baby is how old is Daniel now? I should know, I was there. I think he's like approaching 40. So I was very young, not too bright when I first got married, and kind of put all my dreams on hold to do, the Catholics get married early kind of thing and start a family. And, but I don't regret 1 second of it. I have 5 amazing children that I'm just blessed with that are all productive and doing great things in the world. A teacher, my other daughter is a surgical technician in a veterinary hospital. I have a son who's a business owner up in Vail, Colorado. And then the Coast Guard and the wildland, I'm just blessed. They're productive and giving back. And that's all I've asked of them their whole lives is just give back. Do something that is productive to the world and give back. Don't be selfish with doing crazy things. And so thank you, God, they have. But of course, I don't sleep much with a Coast Guard and a couple of firefighters in the family. So
I can imagine. But is your business owner in Vail? Do they own a resort?
No, he owns a vending and video business that has all the vending machines and video games and other things like that, ATMs and all that, but all the various resorts, mostly in the mountain regions and the mountain resorts. But it's hard work, and he's been doing it forever. It's extremely successful. I couldn't be prouder of him, but a lot of hard work. Yeah.
No, that's wonderful. I was just asking because if he had a resort, I was heading to Vail and I was going to say, your mother would want you to give me the best room possible, the best VIP service possible. And we all want to make mom happy, don't we?
Yes, and they do. It's very hard to make mama happy because if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy.
Denny's giving us something else. We need explanations, Denny.
What is that?
So that is for your husband. That is a vintage Space Invaders from the Atari game.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's still dealing with these cartridges, an Atari 2600.
Wow.
And of course, for you,
I wanted to say that I am taking interviews for Leo personalities that are, I want to definitely match up with be a power couple. Like I've been talking to realtors and other blue collar type stuff. I feel like that's a good fit for me. So I jokingly said a couple days ago that I'm taking interviews for the next husband.
we gonna marry you off. We gonna marry you off. Don't worry. I got you. I'm every guest that comes on the show. Are you single? Are you single? Denny, you single? Denny, are you single? Denny, you got a wife?
I've never been married. I have no kids. I can't tell you how many times I teach in schools and everyone keeps going, how are you not married? Well, how did that happen? And I'm like, well, I've got amazing amount of wonderful friends and all the kids in the world are my kids now. So that
is so beautiful. What I love about Denny is that we can mention a word. Like I almost want to just come up with a word right now. And Jenny's like, I got this, I got that. You know what I mean? Like, what about some clothing? I want some 1912 dresses.
Oh, I got one for you.
Hang on. I told you, I know, I can call it.
Nicole, would it have been a good idea to invest in Zoom stock before COVID-19? Did anyone notice that?
That and I am a huge Peloton person. So,
oh yeah, there's a huge community of like 46,000 members on Facebook, and they're all looking, for discounted, people selling their bikes and stuff like that. So,
let me know. So Sharifa, you're going to be very happy you asked for that. You're going to be amazed, and I think every woman in this panel will be amazed because I have 2 dresses here. One of which is an original 1880s bustle dress.
Wow.
So all of you women, I hope, are wearing the proper bustle dress now so that you could be proper ladies in 1880. Of course, the suffragette movement, the women's movement, fought against such, it's practically bondage, these dresses, between the corset and the bustle. You couldn't even dance because you couldn't go backwards if you were dancing. All steps had to be forward because if you went backwards, you'd probably kill your date. So of course in response, I brought for you a suffragette dress.
Wow.
So that is an original early 1900s suffragette dress. This is the jacket part of the dress. Wow. And you notice that it's very military looking. This is the British suffragette movement. The American was more those white frilly dresses with the beautiful hats. The British, just like punk rock, they felt that to affect change, you would have to shake things up. So they went a little more militant with their movement. The Americans felt that you get more bees with honey. So they felt if we dress up more girly and all that kind of thing, we would affect more change that way. It's just different ways to skin a cat. Sorry, cat. There you go. Those are your dresses from over 100 years ago.
I love it. If I had more time, I'd come up with more words because I know, look, you keep leaving, you keep walking off camera, and I know there's a whole like warehouse next to you. I'm like, I don't even know what to ask for next, but I loved it. I enjoyed it, and we are coming down.
I think you've started something, and you'll always, for years to come, we hope to get a building and actually have in New York City a museum of interesting things. And I think I'm going to do a theme where people just say a word, and I just find something that I love that idea. I think I'm going to do that.
Okay, but do I get a Sharifa Hardy wing or something like? Nicole, I'm gonna talk to Nicole because I think they try to get me for some of my money. I think that's due to me.
I see royalties in this. There's royalties.
The money girl. Yes, I'm going to be paying her in $3 bills. Honestly, I'm as honest as a $3 bill.
Do you have the $500 bill?
I don't have the 500. I do know the designer of the $100 bill that put that strip through it. I'm on the board of the 3D Society, and one of our board members actually designed that strip. So I have kind of a connection to the 100. I don't have a 500. If I did, I'd spend it.
That is wonderful. I had such a wonderful time today meeting all of you. Now we are coming down to the last few minutes of the show, and what I love to do at the end of every show is just allow my guests the opportunity to speak directly to the audience, to everyone who's watching live, as well as everyone who's watching this show in the archives, and let them know what you want them to take away from your appearance. So I'm going to go ahead and start with you, Greg.
All right, I guess I'm on the spot here. So for my takeaways, obviously being a realtor here in Phoenix, my big goal or my big why is to give back to the local community, the local heroes. So that would be my biggest takeaway is, with everything going on in the world, really do think about the heroes that are keeping our society safe, our community safe. Whether you agree with the politics or not, I'm not even going to get into that, but that's my biggest takeaway is, I really found my why of what I'm doing in life, and it's really made me happy, and I'm really excited to wake up every day and tackle real estate. So that's my biggest takeaway.
Thank you. I'm like JoAnn, just thank you. Thank you for doing what you do, and thank you for being who you are. Denny, sprinkle a little magic into the show.
So as you know, I curate the Museum of Interesting Things, and my love is to, show people interesting things, but to bring back positivity, to bring back curiosity, to bring back that era that we all remember that America and the world was like, and and people still have that in them. So any opportunity to kind of show interesting things and stuff like that. So definitely all of you email me, and I'll invite you to one of the virtual things. And the next time you're in New York getting an award, Nicole, you'll have to stop by the museum and see our speakeasy. And the next time we do this roundtable, maybe we'll just do it where everyone just says a word for an entire hour, and I'll be under the pressure of trying to find something to match that word. Well, we've got a thing going on for your next.
We got a thing. So we need you to do your part on that thing and go to ashsharifa.com today, select be a guest, grab another seat, and when you come back, I'm going to come up with a whole bunch of words to see if you can find them in your warehouse.
And there's going to be a file of all of this that you're going to have on the website that I can post so that for years to come, people can find this.
That would be the archive, Denny.
Excellent. I'm going to link to the archive because then it's there forever.
Absolutely. That's why I love it. We can always look back. And that's how I refer people, because I love to just tell people, I met this great person and she does weddings, and I met this realtor and he does this. And instead of having to share, tell them all about you, I just send them the link. Now, JoAnn, what do you have for us?
Oh, I really want to express first, thank you for letting me be a part of this fun time, but also that even during this very trying time, still believe in your dreams and your happily ever afters, because this is just one part of your life together as a couple. And once we get through this, and if you can get through this, as I said, I truly believe my superpower is staying calm during a crisis. And with all the things, and I'm doing lots of 2 and a few ceremonies right now, it's a difficult time, but stay positive and stay looking forward. And there will be a celebration. It's not going to be what you thought it would be. It could be even better and bigger. So that's my hope. And because I wrote a funny book, I say always laugh about things, because sometimes there's no other choice. You just have to know that life is silly and throws you curveballs, but we stay laughing and stay positive and stay happy and blessed.
Yes, but I forgot. I wanted to get, you got to give us at least one story in the book. No names, but at least one story.
Right now, you want me to just whip one
Yes.
out?
Yes.
Okay, one of the most popular in the book is of a small wedding on a cliff in late spring in the mountains of Colorado. And as they're saying their vows, I'm seeing this huge storm coming over the ridge right towards us. Now we're way up high. There's a lake below us, and we're about a half a mile from where the vehicles are. We had to hike into this location. The storm comes over. I'm telling the officiant, hurry up. And sure enough, the storm hits us dead on. This happened to be a Scottish wedding, and they were all wearing kilts. And the wind, and them running, the girls in the heels getting stuck in the snow. Yeah, and like cartoon artists, this is what happened, and it is true. I now know what is under those kilts. Amen.
Great, amen. Great story. I'm glad I asked. Allison, what do you have for us?
Pretty much, I help so many people deal with their clutter and really just emphasize the most important things in life. It's your loved ones. It's not your collection of baseball cards from 1992. It's not anything tangible. It's the most important things in life is your family. And so I do that a lot through my organizing, reminding them the goal, reminding them what's important, and just encouraging, people that, to just and take those experiences and take those memories that you have. And there's no point on keeping things that don't, it sounds cliche, don't bring you joy, but in the sense that it doesn't bring back those good memories. So the rest of it is just stuff. It can be replaced, it can be rebought, it can be sold. It doesn't matter. Focus on your family and being with your loved ones, and the rest of the stuff just doesn't matter.
Yes, you had a tip on one of the other shows. It was something to the extent of, if you haven't touched it in a certain amount of time or a certain amount of years, then just get rid of it without looking into it. Was that, did I remember that correctly?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely encourage my clients to not keep things just in case. Later is now. It's usually when I show up that, I'm going to do this later. Great, let's do it now. Oh, I'm going to do this when my kids are grown up. Nope, you're really not. It's just a false thing you're telling yourself. Let's do that hobby now. Open those package of wedding dishes now. If you've been married for 25 years and still haven't opened up that Cuisinart mix and chop thing that you got as a wedding present, you're probably never going to use it if you haven't. So either open it now and use it, or donate it. Some other person really wants a mix and chop or whatever, and bless another family with something that they need, and use that now. And like I said, later is here. Usually when I show up to organize, later doesn't exist anymore. You're going to do it now. I'm going to make you do it. I'm going to rip that band-aid off, and we're going to do it and get it done.
I love it. Rip that band-aid off. I don't know why I'm getting feedback all of a sudden, but I know Nicole knows all about ripping those band-aids off. Nicole, what do you have for us?
Oh, just money sometimes can be so overwhelming and intimidating, and you don't have to feel it like that. You just have a plan and take one thing and just have it be a goal that you're going to learn one thing every day, or that you're going to do one thing every day. So talk to your significant other. Two of my favorite tools is have a money date. And so if you're single, that's a money date with yourself. If you're in a relationship, that's a money date with your significant other. And look at, what's your life insurance? What's your cell phone bill? What are you spending every single month versus then also the 401ks and the investments and the retirement. And then the second thing is, if you have kids, setting up a family 401k. And so what you can do is your kids start learning these terms, but you set up a family 401k, you meet with your kids and you come up with, what do you want to save the money for? So my kids bought a trampoline, an Xbox, a hoverboard, whatever it is. So let's say it's a trampoline, you need to come up with $500. You figure out how much you have to come up with. And then your kids, when they get their allowance, they put money in there. But let's say they put in $1, well, then you give them a match. So if they put in $1, you put in $1, or if they put in $1, you put in 50 cents, whatever you fits with your budget and your family. One, you're going to buy the trampoline anyway. So you're teaching your kids that we don't have to have stuff immediately, and that's not necessarily what makes us happy. And so it's a great, fun family tool that people can use to help make money a little bit more real and teach a lot of great values.
I love that. When you say a family 401k, is that a literal 401k, or is that just like opening up a savings account and this is going to be our 401k?
Yep, we literally, the box behind me, that's what we have at our house. And so it's just a shadow box. We sell them on NicoleMiddendorf.com, but it's
I don't
just
see
a
the
shadow.
box. What's
Yeah,
the box?
the box right here. So it says family 401k.
Oh, see, I love that. I want to buy that.
And so
I
we
wanna buy
sell
that.
these. So
I'm
you
glad I
sell them at
asked.
NicoleMiddendorf.com. And so you just open up and the kids toss their money in, and then I toss in the match. And then when you've accumulated enough money, then you go buy the trampoline or whatever it is. So yeah, it's been a fun little tool.
You know what, Nicole? I have never, ever in my life seen that before. Maybe this is, maybe I don't get out often, but I've never seen that before.
Well, that's where, like, your typical financial advisor is a 59-year-old male. That's not me. And so we just do things a little bit differently, a little bit more creatively. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, you know what? Thank you. Thank you all for being a guest on today's episode of the Roundtable Talk Show. I know I had a lot of fun and I learned a lot. I hope you did as well. I also want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch the show live, as well as everyone who's watching in the archives. Thank you for your support, but I'm also going to ask you to support our guests. Take a look at their websites and their information in the post in this Facebook Live. Go to their websites, follow them on social media, but when you speak to them, please let them know Sharifa Hardy said hi. And if you are interested in being a guest on the Roundtable Talk Show, please visit the website at asksharifa.com. Until tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, everyone have a safe and a blessed day. Bye now.